When Christmas rolls around and we refer to classical or traditional fairy lights, I think anyone refers to these. Yes, these are the traditional fairy lights that were put back in the days. But of course nowadays we have LEDs which are much more energy efficient. But I would still like to bring up this. In this box I have something vintage connected to fairy lights that even my parents think it is interesting. And they know about vintage. So let's get right into it. Okay, so what is in this box really? So as I already mentioned, these were back in the days the motto. But LEDs took of course over due to their higher efficiency and therefore less usage for the same brightness of wattage. But now in this box I have something vintage. Shall we unbox it? Let's actually take a look even from this distance and we're going to take a closer look. But even from this distance, you might actually be able to recognize these are not regular fairy lights. First of all, they're colored and round, almost like car lights. So let's actually see and test them, shall we? Let's go to my desk setup. Okay, so we are back on my desk. Let's actually take a look at these incandescent fairy lights, shall we? Okay, let's actually unbox it. You will notice that it says over here okay, but don't worry, it just means that it has been tested from the second-hand shop I went to and bought these. You can see they only costed €2 and I think that's kind of convenient, honestly. Even €1 would have been a bit perhaps better, but hey. Let's actually open the box and get them out. Okay, so this is how they came. Boxed in or packed in. I am not going to unwrap the entire thing, just a little bit, but we can here already notice a few things. First of all, they come with incandescent replacement lights, so in case one burns, you have another one to replace, or in this case even two. We can see that it's one of these European plugs that are not like the white ones. I'm not sure, I think they have a name for this kind of model, but it is also interesting. And now the light bulbs themselves. We can see that they have a round look instead of their counterparts fairy lights, which are tall. Also they're yellow, colored therefore, and they kind of remind me of car lights. Specifically these ones. But we also want to test them, right? So let's actually see in the dark how they look like. Let me move them a little bit more up, just like that. Now also a little bit less. Yeah, in real life they look very, very gold, and I will display next to right now on screen an image of how they look in real life. Really, really amazing. And what is the power meter saying? Well, the power meter is also interesting because it is displaying 22 watts. Yes, you heard that right, 22 watts. These use a lot of power compared to LEDs, and therefore you can see why they have been discontinued, especially in our nowadays. But for the vintage time it is still interesting since I have not seen round versions. But who knows? Now of course this doesn't mean that it doesn't go to say that there were no or absolutely no vintage lights of this. And honestly they were, but they were with E14 screws or E10 screws or E27 screws. These however have this socket, and this is what I think is rather special about them. In fact, they're not really regular screw ones, or these pins, and they're globe, what fairy lights didn't really use to look at. And this is a very interesting aspect, in my opinion. So, as said, these are really, really interesting incandescent lights. These fairy lights, as said, I have definitely not seen them, and this is what makes them really special. the fact that I have just never seen them. And they also look really cool. The real definitely interesting. And I would definitely say that it is interesting, but I have never just seen it on the market. And I have already seen regular fairy lights, but I've never seen really these gold ones. So I definitely think it is interesting. And if you enjoyed this video, definitely leave a like and subscribe to see more interesting vintage stuff and science, of course. And I really hope to see you in the next video. I'm Photonic Luminescence. Goodbye.